Are you tired of all the dating games, rules, and societal norms that make falling in love confusing and stressful?
Then join us as we ditch the script and empower you to establish healthy, conscious relationships.
This weekly podcast breaks down popular dating reality television and educates you on healthy versus toxic dating habits.
I'm Brianna, a licensed therapist.
And I'm Alex, a trauma-informed and certified narcissist recovery coach.
Are you ready to ditch the script?
Oh my God.
I love it.
Hi. We were just singing YMCA. If you guys don't watch our YouTube channel, you really should just hit that link in the description box of this podcast situation you're listening to and go watch that for your own entertainment. That wasn't planned. And
it wasn't.
We did pretty good. We
did really good. I saw you starting to do the YMCA and I was like, oh, I'm about to get in this. And we did it. And then I like that we timed up our our bridge.
The bridge, yeah. Before the chorus. Yeah. Crushed it.
I don't know the words.
Me neither.
You could hang with all the boys.
Done.
The internet.
Young men. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, you know what we shouldn't do? We actually shouldn't sing together while we record because our timing is always just like a hair off. So in my headphones just now, we were perfectly synced up, and I can imagine once we hear this back, we're gonna be like, oh, oh no.
It is what it is. Thanks for coming to our concert.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome, you guys. Hi.
Hey.
How you doing?
Well, it's been a crazy couple of days, and I had to check on the internet. Yeah, it's been a lot. I had to check the internet to see if there was like a full moon, which there isn't. I think there's a full moon next on like July 3rd.
Amaze. Okay, great. What's going on in the world, in the planets, in the stars?
It just feels like everyone that I've ever touched mouths with is reaching out to me.
Oh shit, they're coming out of the cobwebs?
Yeah, they're coming out of the cobwebs. Like, I mean, first of all, it's breakup season over here.
Oh.
It's breakup season over here. And that person still reaching out. Okay. We got other people from years past still reaching out. We've got people from a year ago.
Yeah.
Telling me that they miss me.
I mean, duh.
Yeah,
okay, so really what we're learning here is like, y'all, Brie is a motherfucking catch, and if you can't figure that out, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for you. I pity you a little.
Here's the thing. But also, I don't want to be with these people.
And that's okay too. You know what I mean? Like, that's okay.
Okay, I want to normalize that when you miss someone, just keep it to yourself.
Inside thoughts.
Yeah. Is that rude? Is that rude
No,
to say?
because here, let's unpack this a little bit, y'all. Okay, when you're reaching out to an ex to connect or say hey or whatever, you're really looking for soothing. You're really looking for reassurance. You're really looking for connection. Yo, you have friends for that. You got family for that. You got other people that you've dated or maybe are dating right now, which, by the way, if you're dating someone and hitting up an ex, we see you. Cut that shit out. Not okay. Yeah, let's be emotionally mature about this. You can miss someone and not reach out. I do it all the time.
I do it all the time, too.
We do it all the time.
I had a friend that sort of broke me out of a frequent birthday, ritual with exes.
Oh,
where, the only time we would talk to each other is when it was their birthdays. And then I'd be like, hey, happy birthday. And then on my birthday, they'd be like, hey, happy birthday. And it was just like, what are we going to do? We're going to do that till we die? I don't want to do that.
For real. No.
And my friend was like,
we're
hey,
gonna do that till we die.
You could just say happy birthday to the stars in the sky.
Yeah.
You could just be like, happy birthday.
Totes.
Up there. Assuming that they're not dead.
I literally do that with my narcissistic parent, with my ex-husband, whom I haven't spoken to in years.
Right. You'll say happy birthday
I'm like,
to the universe.
Okay? Are you alive? Yeah. Yeah. 100. Or
just
the moon,
send messages.
Which is the universe. Yeah. Energetically send you love without having to be all up in your grill about it. You know what I mean? It's not necessary for them. It's not necessary for me. But if they cross my mind, it's like, we can still send good juju. That's not the issue. It's like, what are you looking for with the reach out? You know, like, what do
Yeah.
you think is
Yeah.
gonna come for that? What is the goal you're seeking? You know, because I
Yeah.
can guarantee it's not just to be like, happy birthday.
Yeah, exactly. You and I were just talking about this, but this has been coming up a lot. I'm noticing the great variety in where all of our personal boundaries are, or rather where we want them to be, but where we struggle to put them in place with our exes or people in our lives. This could even be family members or friends that
Yeah,
you're like not really
anybody.
trying to have relationships with anymore. And I think it's so interesting because I was talking with someone about how they were like how is it that you are able to set these boundaries for yourself to not reach out even if you do miss someone? And I think through trial and error of being a person who experienced being reached out to frequently, and me feeling like, oh my God, thank God, oh my God, thank God, and how much that made me feel out of control.
Mm, mm.
And then something that came up when you and I were talking was the experience of having an ex that would have answered, but he would still answer me if I reached out to him right now.
100%.
And like if I like, but when he and I were more freshly broken up, in like a year, in like the next year, if I was lonely or I don't even want to say bored. I don't think it was out of boredom. I think it was out of loneliness and feeling not desired. I knew
Mm.
that this person was a source of feeling desired for me. And so I would reach out to them to be like, just to say what's up or see how it was going. And then I realized after a while that like they weren't telling me this, but I was actually noticing that this was fucking with them. And that
Mm.
wasn't actually cool. And then
Yeah,
I remembered, oh, I've been on that side of things, different experience, different person, but like I've been there.
totally. Yeah.
And so it's not enough for me to feel like, well, I miss them, so I should tell them. Maybe I just tell myself.
Yeah, and the universe totes my goats. You know, for me, it's a self-interrogation thing, kind of like what I just alluded to. It's like, what am I really looking for here? You know, like whenever I don't struggle with that temptation. I think also this is a reflection of like your own internal world of like how far along are you on your healing journey and your self-awareness. I definitely think that's a thing because a lot of people just go on autopilot, and so like they're just sending texts like miss you, how are you, whatever, willy-nilly to their ex without any kind of conscious like thinking.
Check
It's just
in.
like,
What am
yeah,
I
it's like your
doing?
thumb has a mind of its own and it's like blip, blip, send, right? And
Right.
it's not okay in the sense that like we that's the epitome of being unconscious, right? So for me it really started with a gentle loving self-interrogation. What are you really looking for out of this? What are you really trying to soothe? What do you think saying this or texting this is really going to bring you, right? And you know, when I started to hear my own responses, it's like, well, I'm looking to calm down, I'm looking to be soothed, I'm looking for connection, I'm looking to not feel lonely, I'm looking for whatever it is. Then it's like, oh, well, is sending this text really going to bring that? Because let's unpack this even more, y'all. You're texting an ex, someone that you may have been with for years, right? And you think that that's going
Mm-hmm.
to make your loneliness feel better? No,
Right.
it's going to make you feel more lonely because that person's painting more of a picture of how you're not in each other's lives right now. You know what I mean? So it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, it ain't the answer. The other thing I really, really, really want to say, and I kind of want to call bullshit on this mindset of like, it's not okay to block or hide or mute people's stories or profile. Like, I'm so over this. Like, yo, we used to not have cell phones, we used to not have the internet. Like, think about the generation that came before us. Like, they only had telephones, landlines, that they had to be home to coordinate a time to connect, and you had snail mail, and that's about it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe early 90s some email. And so you
Right.
really had to be intentional about connecting with someone, reaching out and being in someone's world. In a way, breaking up was, I'm going to use this word, easier back then, because we didn't have social media where it was like we had access in milliseconds to everybody on the goddamn
Right.
planet. And
Right.
so I think because this has been so normalized where we do have this like, I can open Instagram and go look at my ex's profile. I can open Facebook or whatever and go look at my ex's profile. I can email them. I can text them. I can call them. I can FaceTime them. I can do all these different things. This is a new thing. And we have grown so quickly, we've become addicted to it that we forget that yes, it is normal to not have contact with someone who's in your life, because back in the day, you broke up and you didn't stand around by your landline hoping they were going to call you, you know? Right? Like
Maybe.
maybe, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
something that like was programmed in us to have this kind of accessibility to one another so flippantly, you know?
It is so crazy that I can break up with someone on a Tuesday and then I can know what it is that they're eating for lunch on a Thursday. Like that's insane. And I shouldn't, and they didn't even directly share that with me.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's so crazy that I would be able to know that, and it's so easy to be able to find out what people are up to, even if they're not just like posting at them. I don't know, man. It's just weirdo times that we live in right now, and there's a part of me that's nostalgic for being in like a cleaner cut, like what you were just describing of like we don't really have the means to access people so directly. I live for that. I live for people not being able to reach out to me, but I know that I am sort of a recluse in that way. But again, of course, I'm not nostalgic for a time where it was just infinitely worse to be a woman. So I'll stay here.
Seriously. Yeah, 100%. It's the weirdest thing. It's like we have made so much progress while simultaneously like fucking ourselves in different ways. It's just like, this is the human experience. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Jesus, man.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually not the check-in that we were planning on having. We'll save the other one for another time. And let's do what we came here to do. Let's do what we came here to do, which we are wrapping up the final episode and reunion of, I almost said Love is Blind.
Nope.
The Ultimatum Queer Love. The queer experience, which I don't think is a fair representation of the queer experience, but here we are. This is what Netflix has given to us, so this is what we are working with. I believe we have a lot to discuss. That's what I believe.
For real. Where do we start? I'm buckled into your roller coaster because I'm just like, lead me.
Okay.
I will follow you. I follow you wherever.
Listen, I got you, girl. So where we left off in the episode before the final episode was Mal's proposal to Yoli.
Dun, dun, dun.
How are we best going to do this? I think we need to talk about the last episode, the engagement / breakups, before we get to the reunion.
Okay,
and
great.
Pretend like we don't. We can't pretend that we don't know what happens at the reunion.
But we're gonna.
But we need to. I want to be able to focus on the content of the engagements and breakups with respect of where we were in time when we were learning about them first.
Agreed. Okay. I'm here with you.
Thanks for riding this ride. So Yoli says yes to Mal. Yeah, she's strapped in. Yoli says yes to Mal, which
she does.
At first I was like, yay, that was the right choice. And then later on, and I'm jumping ahead, so we'll go back in a moment, but then later on when we see Yoli connect with Xander, which I understood, there's so much that is problematic to a sitting partner in that, but I also understood the validity of like the intensity of their connection that was like playing on them both and how intense that was and whatever. But I was like, I don't think that these people should be anywhere near each other, point blank period. Any of them.
It was weird. It got weird.
Yeah.
It got so weird. Yeah, so I wasn't super stoked about her saying yes to Mal because I didn't think her heart was fully in it, and I don't think that's fair to Mal.
Yes.
Personally.
You're right.
For me. For me, myself, and I. This was my experience watching it. It was like, will you marry me? Like, Mal writes this beautiful, like, note, gets on a knee, does the whole thing, and Yoli's like, yeah, and it was like such a lackluster, yeah. Like it didn't feel like, oh my God, yes, I want to marry your ass. Like, let's fucking go. Like, let's do it. You know, it felt so like half like, yes, I'll say yes to you, but my heart's with someone else. Basically, which is what she says to Mal right after she accepts the proposal, you know, and Mal acknowledges like, I've never disrespected your love for Xander. I get it. And it's just like, fuck, I kind of felt for Mal in that moment, because it's like, ideally, you know, when you're proposing to someone, they're all about you and their heart isn't with someone else.
Yeah.
So it was a little fucked, in my opinion. I felt bad for Mal, and I'm like, I want to recognize Yoli too, because like I don't think Yoli's a bad person for saying yes. I think very much she went with the logical choice. She went with someone whom she knows the patterning of. Like, she's been in her world and for what, 3 or 4 years, and they've grown together and they've done life together for an extended period of time. So I understand why Yoli would choose that. But the fact that she was so torn, to me, means she shouldn't have. It's like, don't accept a proposal when you are torn. Right? So those are my feelings and thoughts.
Totally. I have a question for you.
Uh-oh. Okay,
if you were if you were a close confidant of Yoli's, are you saying that like you'd have suggested like, hey, don't accept this proposal, take more time, figure out what you want and who you want it with?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I feel like I know the show, it's called The Ultimatum, because quite literally you're either supposed to break up or get engaged. There isn't like a let's keep dating option.
But they do that anyway. They end up dating. Know.
Exactly.
Whatever.
So I really wish that was the conversation instead of her accepting Mal's proposal. I wish it was like a proposal to date in a new light, you know, like, right. Look, I propose that moving forward, we're going to get a place together. We are going to get our finances together where we can start looking at in vitro and all of that. Like that would be this is my proposal for us to take our relationship to the next step and have a legitimate trial marriage, to use the ultimatum verbiage, right? Amongst themselves for more than 3 fucking weeks. You know, anyone can live together for 3 weeks and it be Gucci. Like, 3 weeks is not a test of time. Live together for a year. Go through all 4 seasons of the year, start getting your finances in order and being honest with the other person about what the fuck's going on in there, and see if you can build a life together. I'm not saying you need to share joint checking accounts and all that shit, you know? We don't need to go that far, but at least, what? Are you laughing at me? Because so many people rush that too. No. They're like, let's put all our money together.
Everything you're saying is right. No, this is going to sound so stupid. Everything that you're saying is right, but you had said something like, I'm not saying that you need to share a joint. I thought you were just going to stop there.
Checking. But maybe you should share a joint, you guys.
Maybe get high together and see what that's like and see where your conversations go.
Yo, there's a part of me that kind of feels if the world would smoke a doobie, we would have less problems, you know? So on a small level, I'm, being tongue in cheek. It's a personal opinion.
Of course, I did just think about how, like, you know how like some people get really, really, really anxious with weed.
Oh yeah, well, with appropriate strains.
I know, but I was just thinking about how like a lot of people who don't smoke or / don't want to because they know that this is how it makes them feel. Yeah. They think that they're having a panic attack, so a lot of times they'll actually call 911 to like have paramedics come out because they think they're having a panic attack. So I was just sorry, my brain went to this place where it was like the 911 would be lit up for the day. That's all.
Okay. But yeah, I would tell Yoli and Mal that. I'd be like, look, if you want to choose Mal, like, that's totally fine. Don't accept a proposal for marriage. Just date in a new consciousness now that you guys have like figured some of your shit out, and you have things in your relationship you need to iron out before you take that next step. Like 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. I totally agree with you. I think the reason why I was feeling like, well, there's a couple things. The reason why I was like, yay, I'm glad Yoli chose Mal. One, because I want to choose Mal.
100. Same. I'm like, yeah, duh.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to be with Mal. 2, I think the reason why I was feeling it, because I tend to think about this a lot, where there is so much beauty that comes with being in a relationship and possibly building a life with someone that you feel passionately in love with. But it doesn't always mean that that's actually the right choice for you and what your life goals are. And I'm going to sound a little like
Unsexy.
cut and dry. Yeah, thank you. That's a better way to describe it. It's unsexy, it's unromantic, but the thing is like if you I'll speak it with regards to what we want, what we know Yoli's looking for. If Yoli's looking for marriage, children, life moving forward towards the family route, then she wants to pick a partner that is reliable in the ways that she finds them reliable. I don't know if that's how she felt about Mal. It seems like that actually was where some of her hesitations were, which were about like Mal's like keeping a home, I think. But in reality, I see Mal being a very, very, very suitable partner for like motherhood and parenting because of their emotional stability and their their emotional intelligence and the way in which they are just. I was just gonna say, I just got lost. I was like, they're sexy as fuck. They really are.
They are.
They are. But also like it's the way that they hold space for other people's emotions that is such a turn on, and I think it makes such a good idea of a parent because kids have big feelings, they're explosive, they can be really annoying, they're going to happen at the times when you are not prepared or wanting a child. Yeah, it's not convenient for a child to be being a child, so you kind of want stuff like that within a partner to be like ready and available for things like this of nature. Anyway, my point is that there is room for making the conscious choice in dating a person whom you might not have the same passionate intimacy and relationship with compared to another connection that you have. But if you find them to be the best fit for a longevity in your partnership and your life goals, I think that there's room to have that. But it clearly like wasn't going to be the match.
No. So so that's that with Mal and Yoli. Should we go over to Xander and Yoli, or no? Because we should do Xander and Vanessa first, and then do Xander.
Xander
Yoli?
and Vanessa. Xander and Vanessa. Okay. Xander and Vanessa.
So we're gonna jump over to Xander and Vanessa. Yo, I literally my first note is I'm just screaming at the TV
because
I'm like, leave her, Xander, leave her.
Yeah. Xander did not propose, which I think was, which was the right thing to do. They just like even outside of whatever problematic behavior was displayed by Vanessa throughout the whole show, it's so clear that Xander was beginning to discover a side of themselves that existed, that only could begin to blossom and flourish outside of this relationship. And that to me is like the most important thing.
Agreed.
And what I think that they sort of sat with when they were like, it's like we have to just split off and try something else now. What I didn't love was Vanessa being like, I've been accepting so like breadcrumbs from you.
Yeah. Like she very much like put it on. Yeah, it was weird. It was so weird. And the other thing that Vanessa said that I didn't like is my heart's been slowly breaking these last 2 months. And it's like, really? Because when you were with Ray, I didn't feel like your heart was breaking at all. I felt you were like, literally like, Xander's asexual. She wouldn't be in a relationship if it wasn't for me. Like, I didn't feel like your heart was breaking at all for Xander. I think the only time your heart started breaking was when you found out Xander fell in love with Yoli. And then you're like, whoops. Like, honestly, it felt like bullshit to me.
Same.
I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah. There were things in here's my thing about Vanessa in these episodes is like, I don't think that her representation of herself is not authentic to her, but I do think that it's saturated in defense mechanisms.
100%. Yeah, very unhealthy coping, very unhealthy defense. Yeah, it's like, I feel for Vanessa because all of the things that we see in her that we don't like are coming from a place of unresolved trauma, wounds of some sort, habits, patterns. Like, that are ingrained from her childhood. Like, so, again, I can look at Vanessa and be like, look, I really don't like how this girl is showing up. I really don't like how this girl is treating other people. But I don't think Vanessa's like doomed. If she decides to work on herself and go to therapy and do the work, I think she has the potential. I think anyone has the potentiality to be an amazing version of themselves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so in this moment, I'm very protective of Xander. So I'm like Team Xander. But it doesn't mean that I'm anti Vanessa. It just means like, girl, like get your shit together so that you can be happier and more fulfilled with the relationship you have with yourself, and you don't feel the need to cope or defend in these ways that aren't serving you or the people around you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for saying that. Because like I know that we've given Vanessa a whole lot of shit, but I think I agree with you. There's room for Vanessa to challenge herself, to grow. And we just want Xander to like continue on the path that they're on, because they're such a kind and honest person. Like you can tell that this person really values honesty, in how they treat themselves and how they treat other people. So just want to see that continue to flourish. Okay. Then Xander goes to find Yoli. And editing is also a thing. But I guess like Xander did say to Yoli, like, I spoke to Vanessa this morning. So that had to have happened already before Yoli and Xander connect. And it was weird. I felt like I shouldn't be watching it.
Same. Yeah, same.
I feel personal.
And Xander finally spoke up and said that, which I loved. Like, get it, girl. So we see these two come together, and they're very lovey-dovey and affectionate and kind of, I think, soothing one another because it had been a hard morning. And Xander expresses to Yoli that she had broken up with Vanessa. And then Yoli expresses like, well, Mal proposed and I did say yes, and I took the ring off because I didn't know where you stood, which I thought that was a little weird. I was like, I get, like, I'm like, did you take the ring off or did the producers make you take the ring off? Because I just don't you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, it felt a little like, whoop, gotcha. I'm actually engaged, you know? Yeah.
I love that.
It did. It felt like that to me a little. Like, I said yes to Mal and I took the ring off because I didn't know where you stood with Vanessa. It's like, why the fuck does that matter with whether or not you wear your ring? So anyway, the funny thing is, it's not funny. It's kind of heartbreaking. Yoli explains, like, I love you, though. And Xander feels the same. And so it was, Yoli looks at Xander and is like, you want to run off together? And they try and flee from the cameras to get, like, a private moment. And the cameras, of course, are, like, following them. Got to get the tea. To which Xander finally is like, I think you guys got enough. Bye-bye. Yeah. Man, it was emotional as fuck.
I was having a hard time watching them reconnect and not imagining Mal watch that later and be like,
dagger to the heart.
Yeah. But I think when we'll talk about it in the reunion, I think Mal's perception of what they ended up watching on the show is different than how Yoli expected Mal would feel and how I probably would feel. Yeah, there were a lot of concerns that were brought up that I was like, it made me think about things differently.
Yeah. Well, but think about it like this. Like, Mal is in this experience from Mal's eyeballs. Like, she's only inside Mal's body. So it's like she very much sees and perceives everything the way that she's seeing and perceiving everything. And then she's trusting her partner, Yoli, that at the facts that Mal is receiving from Yoli, that is 100% fact. She is giving Yoli that benefit of the doubt, that full-on trust of like, okay, you're owning it with me, you're telling me. And so when Mal watches this entire thing back, she's now seeing what's happening behind closed doors when Mal in real time wasn't around, and what Yoli's experience was and what was actually said and what was actually done. That might have been slightly distorted or a half-truth that Yoli relayed in real time. So I get that. Like, that has to be like a whole new, like, I'm sure all of them are grieving again now that they've seen it from all of the different perspectives of the show,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you guys do this to yourself?
What, like go on these shows?
Yeah, I actually, so after I finished, I thoroughly lurked everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody.
me too. Me too.
And I love how Ray posted, and she was like, can we all just laugh at the fact that instead of going to couples therapy, we signed up for this reality TV show? And I was rolling on the floor laughing because I was like, yeah, let's all laugh at that. Like,
Right. Oh, there's a couple people that whose profiles I didn't go to. I didn't go to Ray's. I didn't go to Yoli's, and I didn't go to Mildred's. I saw Tiff. I saw Vanessa. I saw Xander. I saw Mal. What did I see now?
Aussie, Sam.
Oh, I guess
Mal.
I didn't see those. There's some okay, there's a lot of people.
I did everybody except Mildred. I didn't give a fuck about that one. Is that bad?
Yeah, you were like, fuck you, Mildred.
Yeah. I had a fight response come online towards Mildred. I'll come at you. Hold my earrings.
Yeah. And we're going to get there.
We will.
Why we feel that way. But
pumping the brakes.
Yeah, we're pumping the brakes. Okay, let's actually talk about them because they were our next proposal. Tiff and Mildred meet on a beach or a pier or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Somewhere with a beautiful view of the ocean.
It was hot and sticky. And they were they're talking to each other. And before, I guess it would be Tiff's job to propose to Mildred. And just the only thing that came up for me while they were talking, I was like, what are they actually saying to each other?
For real. I'm so tired. We see that a lot on these shows, don't we? Like, so much prose and, like, poetry with no goddamn substance. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what?
Exactly.
What are we listening to?
Yeah, like, what do you guys... I like, if I was a producer, I would have been like, wait, Tiff. Can you... What's your point? What are we saying?
What does that mean?
I don't
Put
have
the
anything.
Nicholas Sparks novel down. Like,
yeah, it was all very lofty. Like, it was all very intangible how they feel about each other and their hopes and dreams for one another and their relationship. And I was like, none of this is grounded. This feels so
frou-frou.
I don't know. Yeah, it
felt like putting lipstick on a pig to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The one thing that I really didn't like that I made a note of, and this is going back to what we were gonna talk about, but it's coming up here. Mildred says this interesting thing, and I wanted to shout this from the goddamn rooftops because this is a concept we really need to get away from. Mildred's like, I'm not sure if you'll love me unconditionally. And here's the deal. Unconditional love doesn't equate to unconditional tolerance, and I feel like that's what Mildred is trying to say here is like the aspects of myself that you don't like, you're not gonna just accept and love them. But Mildred has some toxic qualities that are very emotionally unsafe, and we find out physically unsafe too eventually. But it's like, no, why should I tolerate that? Like, abuse is abuse is abuse, And it's like, no, I'm going to unconditionally love you for the aspects of yourself that, might feel shame or might feel scared, right? Of course. But I'm not going to tolerate you treating me however you feel like treating me and call that love. And this is where a lot of abuse survivors get stuck because they're like, doesn't unconditional, because abusers will say something like that, and so then they follow this scripting of like, well, if I really love them, I should go back to them, I should give them grace, I should let them treat me this way, I should be able to suck it up and deal with it because that's what love is. And it's like, no, that's what Stockholm syndrome is. That is not love. Right. So
that's exactly right.
I had to name it. So we're naming it, and the flags are red and they are waving.
They're waving and they're neon. It's neon red.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's manipulative to say you're supposed to unconditionally love me. You're supposed to love me unconditionally. And to your point, I don't think I could say it better. It's like loving, there actually should be conditions with the love that I give and the love that I receive, because I am not in a position to just forever forgive and love a person who treats me poorly or actually abuses me, is my abuser. You don't get to tell me that I'm not doing my part by not loving you unconditionally, because when you'll literally treat me like trash, garbage.
Yep. And then expect me to not react or have feelings about it. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
No. So, sus. They get engaged. Throw up a little bit in my mouth, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, next. Aussie and
Yeah.
Sam.
Aussie and Sam come together. And this was a couple where I didn't know what was going to happen with them.
Same.
What's interesting is I feel like at this stage of the show, Aussie is still sort of in Aussie's trauma response. Can I tell you why?
Yes, please
Because
share. Share with the
Aussie
class.
Aussie keeps, like, I appreciated Aussie's perspective of, I thought that I had to be the perfect, like, everything, like perfect partner, perfect, like, something, and perfect kid. And it seems like Aussie is still very much like in that. I think Aussie needs a lot of healing support from what they went through, because they're relating to the experience of being a kid who just like wasn't ever celebrated, wasn't ever praised, wasn't ever told that Aussie was like doing the right thing.
And she was enough, or sorry, Aussie was enough just by being Aussie. Yeah.
Yeah. So it made me fearful of like, I guess the reason why I was having a hard time where I was seeing that, and then I see Aussie and Sam go into potentially a proposal, which again, for the show, I get it. It's like propose or break up. But I don't think that someone should make big decisions like that while they're still trying to figure out where it is that they are needing support in their healing journey.
That's okay. Wait, I'm sorry. I chuckled there, which is kind of fucked up on my part, but let me explain my chuckle. How many people do get engaged from a trauma response? So fucking many. Fucking many. And it's like, oh my God, this is my last ditch effort to save this relationship. And it's like, yo, that isn't the answer, you guys. If you are gonna try and get engaged and married as a last ditch effort to save or have a baby, yo, sign up for couples therapy. Don't go on a reality show. Don't get married. Don't you have babies. No. Do your inner work. The only way anything in our own lives get better and within our own relationships get better is ourselves, our relationship with self. It all starts with us. And so, yeah, that was, I feel you. I wasn't as uncomfortable. I get what you're saying. I wasn't as uncomfortable with it. I think because I'm so in love with these two and how emotionally intelligent they are, that I have a lot of hope, but they do need the tools. They do need the support. I think they would highly benefit from a third party with couples therapy. And I agree. Aussie absolutely needs to do their trauma work with a practitioner, ideally who is queer as well, and can so that's that safe space. They can relate, they can have those conversations. But and I think fucking Netflix should pay for it. That's what I think.
Oh my God, Netflix should be paying for people's therapy after they get out of these shows.
Mildred, Vanessa, it's like Oprah, you get therapy, like everybody gets therapy. Yeah.
I don't know why that's not already a thing.
I think it should be packaged into the goddamn show. I think every reality show. I'm getting heated. I need to calm down.
Just regulate for a second.
I'm getting mad.
There's a clip of Sam on a podcast where Sam's talking about how she acknowledges and has reflected since that she could have done a better job of like exploring with Aussie what Aussie was going through in Aussie's trial marriage with Mildred. Kind of like what we were saying. We were like, and Sam was like, I think things would have played out differently for Aussie and I had I taken the time to be like, whoa, what are we dealing with here?
Well, I hear Sam, and this is why I love this girl. Like, yes. Like, Sam really does a good job of leading by example on like taking, like, she's not perfect. And we see this in this moment, with Aussie when they enter their trial marriage. But let's give Sam the benefit of the doubt. She's not assuming that there's an abusive person on this show. She's not assuming that Mildred is utilized. So of course she's not going to know. You know, she's just from her point of view, she doesn't realize that what Aussie went through with Mildred was fucking traumatizing. It was verbal, emotional abuse. And so I'm sorry, to go from that environment back into your original relationship without much decompression time, again, nor having a trauma-informed therapist around to assist with processing and all that stuff, of course she's going to be more easily triggered. She's fresh out of that environment, you know what I mean? So it's like, I applaud Sam for having that realization, especially probably after watching back the show and kind of seeing like what Aussie went through with Mildred. But at the same time, Sam didn't know what Sam didn't know in real time.
True.
You know?
Very true.
So like she's not, I don't think Sam has a malicious bone in her body where she's going to be like assuming that someone is of that nature on a show like this either. So, so do we want to talk about the proposal with them too?
Oh yeah, Sam and Aussie's. Yeah, Aussie presents a rock sort of inspired by the way that penguins present a rock, and I thought it was very cute, and also was like, what is happening? Like I thought it was just going to be that, because it's kind of where they're at, where I was like, oh, that's where they're at. But then Aussie was like, but I also have this other rock.
Yeah.
An engagement rock. Hey.
Yeah, an engagement ring rock. Yeah. I thought it was so Aussie. I really did. Like, I thought it's a labradorite. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but it's a crystal that is a protection stone. It's in the shape of a heart. And I think Aussie is that kind of person. Like, and I love that about her, you know? I love that they nerd out on, you know, penguins when they find a life partner, they go and find the best rock and present it as a, you know, their version of a proposal. And she felt that was resonated with them. And she got this protection crystal, which was picked with intent on her part to protect their connection. Like, I just thought that was really fucking cute. And then, it's hilarious that she's like, and, you know, I'm also going to propose. Here's your ring.
Yeah.
It was cute. It was cute. I also love how honest Sam is when she's like, no, I wasn't going to be okay with just a rock. Like, this is why I like them. I'm like, they're honest with each other and they accept each other through their honesty, you know?
Yeah, I do too.
And so they get engaged. And I honestly, like, the note I have is I have the most hope for these two if, in all caps, they get the support and tools they need. So I was interested to see how they would show up on the reunion, because if I'm being scared, I was really scared to see if they broke up. So did we talk about everyone? Can we go to the reunion now?
No.
Ray and
we
Lexi.
didn't. Yeah.
I have like no notes on them.
Yeah,
I checked out.
Mine literally says Ray proposes to Lexi. Lexi says yes.
I'm like, they get engaged. That's literally it.
Well, because I mean, here's the reason why I don't have any notes. It's
was
like it was whatever.
Yes,
I
feel like it was
like
what we were saying
expecting.
about Mildred and Tiff. Yeah. Like
and
a lot of lofty words.
Yeah, lots of lofty words, and honestly, like knowing I obviously don't know Lexi, but knowing Lexi a little bit better while watching her on the show, like it was really like, you're doing this for me or you're getting out of Dodge. And I think Ray's experience on the show wasn't this, I'm gonna go explore a different connection and explore my feelings about commitment and marriage. Ray's experience was, I fucked around with Vanessa, and all of a sudden it was the next 4 weeks were about me trying to win my partner's trust back. So their time spent on the show wasn't really how other people were spending time on the show. This was like, you did something that I didn't like, and now so I think Ray's proposal was sort of a trauma response. It was like, I need to be able to hold on to this person. Otherwise I'm going to lose them. And they weren't prepared to lose them. They'd been working really hard to not lose them after what happened with Vanessa, and kind of ditching all of the things that were was stressing Ray out about marriage and commitment, and maybe marriage and commitment to this particular person. that's something that I wish that she explored. Like, yes, I have a thing about commitment. Yes, I'm scared about marriage. But maybe here's why I'm scared about marriage and commitment with Lexi, because I have fears, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how people avoid that kind of contemplation of
Yeah.
like, what are the fears I have? Is this a fear in general or is this a fear with this partner? Because not all relationships are the same, and there are certain things that like every partner is going to trigger us in different ways, and we get to choose like what partnership am I willing to sign up for where this is might be a consistent trigger, something I need to work through, something we need to meet in the middle on, right? Like again, unsexy, unromantic, but it's fucking facts. Like there isn't someone out there that's going to never trigger you or never hurt your feelings or never do something that upsets you or do everything your way. Like that is just not fucking possible. And in fact, that's not relationship, that's just control. So it's like, you know, we need to accept the fact, the unsexy, unromantic fact that relationships are two imperfect people coming together, which means that we get to decide, do I love you and I love being in relationship enough with you to work through this together? Do I feel safe to work through this together? Do you honor my and respect my triggers the way that I honor and respect your triggers, or are you going to bulldoze me when I'm feeling triggered and push me to suck it up? Like these are the things that we need to ask ourselves and contemplate, because it's again, choose your own adventure, right? And so don't choose an adventure with a partner that is committed to triggering you and then blaming your reaction as the problem. Like, no, you know? And so, yeah, and I mean, that's not necessarily the case with Ray and Lexi, but it very much is like Lexi is ready to get married now, and there is no other option for Ray, which isn't conducive to Ray exploring Ray's needs and desires in the partnership she wants. She's just being bulldozed into this thing. So, not the vibes.
Not the vibes. Okay, now let's go to the reunion and get right to them. So
Back
Lexi
to Ray
and Ray,
and Lexi.
I was surprised to see that they seemed genuinely happy. Now I knew that there was no version of Lexi that was gonna be this emphatic about marriage and a proposal and her life goals and tra la 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 la, and get on the reunion and not fully stand by everything that's happened.
Yeah,
exactly. I expect that from Lexi. When I say they seemed really happy, I'm actually speaking on what I observed from Ray.
Yeah,
Ray, I trust more to see what's going on in her face and her body language.
Yeah. She's like, I feel like Ray's like me, like she struggles to hide her emotions, you know, like when she's actively feeling them. And so, yeah, I agree. Her face was lit up. She seemed really happy. She seemed really calm and confident and grounded in her body. Like, honestly, it was the best version of Ray I've seen on this entire show. I was like, damn, bitch, you showing up. She's like, hey, look at me in my burnt orange hot gown. Yeah, she looked great. So what?
No, it was like she did look great, but it was like, it wasn't just, I mean, I know that you're not saying this, but it's not just what she looked like. It was like, it was everything.
The aura. It was the
her
whole
aura was lit up. Yeah.
Everything. She was beaming. And that's magnetic.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I was happy to see it. It was interesting. Okay, so transparency, I watched the reunion twice. I watched the reunion and then watched it again yesterday because I was like, I need to go back.
Let's refresh. Okay.
Let's refresh.
And then what?
Well, so we learn at the end of the reunion that Lexi and Ray are no longer together.
Dun-dun.
So, yeah, and which was like shocking to me. No, it's like, it should be shocking, but it was because
they looked so great.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then it was like a shell shock. They're like, by the way, they broke up. It was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Oh my God. Like what a mic drop. But so that's why I wanted to go back and revisit like Mildred and Tiff's whole thing, or like look at that through a different lens. But I wanted to go back and sort of see how we were talking about Ray and Lexi's relationship. Everyone was co-signing. Everyone was like such a like strong endorsement of their relationship and going the distance and feeling really good about this connection. And of course we have the host who's like, like, let me get me, like, I can't wait for the invitation, like whatever. But so yeah, it was just bizarro.
So something that was said by Ray that I actually kind of want to talk about behavioral science on, because I think this is a great thing to know about ourselves.
Talk your talk.
Is Ray expresses, she's like, it's like when I finally just made the decision that I was gonna marry Lexi, all of my fears went away, and everything's been so much better since then. And so this actually, they've done studies on people who overanalyze, and this was me. People who, for example, like read every single Amazon review and like have to look at like maybe competitor products, like multiple competitor products, read all the reviews, look at like the ratings and all this stuff. And people are less satisfied with purchases when they do that. But the people who are less obsessed with reviews and ratings and stuff, and they're like, oh, my friend has this brand of espresso machine, I'm just going to go buy that espresso machine because that's what my friend has. They are more satisfied with their purchases. Yep. And so the more satisfied, or the one that's like, let me read everything?
Oh, I can't be bothered. I'm like, you like it? I like it.
Brie and I are opposites. Yeah. I've had to untrain
in a beautiful harmony.
Yeah, I have had to get out of this because it was a thing. So the same thing happens in relationships, right? When we are dating someone and we are so in our head about, oh my God, what if there's someone out there that's better for me? Oh my God, what if? Let me go look at this person. Let me just get on the dating apps and swipe a little bit more. Let me go on a date with this person. You are never going to be satisfied with the person across from you because of what you're doing to yourself. But if you just make the commitment to be like, you know what, this person's in front of me, I'm enjoying their company, I'm enjoying getting to know them, and you just choose to commit to dating that person, you will be more satisfied with what ends up coming down the road. So Ray is an example of that. She's like, she was in her head. She had been with Lexi for 4 years. There was still parts of her that were questioning. Now, do I think that this was necessarily the healthiest thing for Ray? No, I think, as to what Brie and I were saying before, that Ray really needed to sit with what was coming up for her and her fears, and like get more specific on like, what is it within Lexi that's triggering these concerns of mine, or is this just something that Ray is fueling within herself? Those are two very different things, right? It's like, is the espresso machine causing my discomfort, or is it the fact that I read ratings and reviews that espresso machine was faster and that's what I'm hyperfixating on, right? Just to like zoom out and give you an example, right? Is it my partner triggering this concern, or is it the fact that I'm over here thinking the grass is greener elsewhere that's causing my concern, right? So I just wanted to share that because I think it can be helpful for those of us who might identify as a overanalyzer, and it's a tool to use, but it's also a version of contemplation that we need to look at. There's two versions. Is it coming from within me, or is it coming from something outside of me?
That's super useful.
Yay. Amazing.
And I wonder if Ray is, my hope is that Ray has learned from this experience of like, my hope is that Ray is more familiar with the inner voice that was probably speaking up a lot in their relationship now that they're broken up. This is like the, I truly want us to start looking at breakups through like a workable lens, a positive lens, because breakups oftentimes mean that there's so much room for you to be able to like connect with the version. Like every time I break up with someone, I'm like, hello, old friend, first of all. Second of all,
hello, darkness, my old friend.
Hello, old friend. And also I'm like, okay, now is my time to be able to check in with myself of like, what were the things that I was fully ignoring that I'm only now like feeling more freedom to be able to confront because they have less risk attached to them.
Yeah, love it. This is huge.
This is huge. And it's an opportunity to deepen and develop that relationship with yourself. People ask in my services, and I'm sure in yours as well, all of the time, how do I build my confidence? How do I build that trust with myself? How do I build my inner voice? And I'm going to tell you 9 times out of 10, it's paying attention to your inner voice a little bit. If you're not prepared to do anything about it yet, at least like write her down.
Yeah.
Write her down.
Let her be fucking heard. Yep.
Yeah, let her be heard. Call a person who's a safe person, who's not necessarily going to take that information and demand that you do something with it now. You know,
fuck
it's
that.
uncomfortable. No. It's uncomfortable to tell a friend to be like, hey, I'm having doubts about this person, and for that person not to be like, I don't like that for you. You should break up with them. Why are you still with them? You're still going to be with that person for real when you told me X, Y, and Z about them? We all have people like that. Sometimes there are moms. Don't tell your mom if that's the case. Tell her some other shit.
We love you. Yeah.
Tell her some other shit. But this is what I mean. So it's like, let's say you get through the breakup alive, we hope. And you're on the other side and you're like, okay, this sucks. What is it that my voice was trying to say that is actually so much easier to sort of engage with now? What does that tell me about myself? Yeah. And then you take that information with you into the next relationship. Next thing you know, boom, you're found yourself in a relationship with a partner that's infinitely better of a match for you than the last one. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not. Is it going to be the perfect person that you've been looking for that ends your experience dating? Also, maybe not. That's okay. But it will be a better experience, and there will be more opportunities for you to learn more about yourself, even in that.
Yeah. Thank you. That was a maze. You did so
You're
good.
welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Coming up fair. Okay. So, who do we want to talk about next?
Oh.
I feel like we need to spin the wheel of names.
Vanessa and Xander. I would like to. Can I own a truth?
Yes. Obviously. I'm down.
I know I always ask that here, and then I don't know what I expect from you. And like you're gonna be like, yeah, of course.
Yes, bitch.
Vanessa did not bother me in this reunion.
Oh,
at all.
Good for you. She bothered me.
Yeah, I'm alone. Am I alone?
No. I think. Look, let me be clear. I think Vanessa made steps. I don't know if I trust the steps.
Yeah, totally.
You know, she's been on blast. She, like, watching that back, I mean, she said some really awesome, wonderful things, but I'm like, is this a PR stunt? Is she saying this to kind of be like, let me, you know? So I see what you're saying. I agree with that. And for me, there's parts of me that are like, no. I don't know if I trust you. I don't know if I trust it fully. But yes, do those things, and then I'll trust you.
What parts were those for you?
What I loved the most about what Vanessa shared with us at all on this reunion is I recognize that I'm the loud, bold person. I need to make a joke out of everything because that is one of her coping and defense mechanisms. And she said that she's committed for her goal this year is to be more calm and serious. But it's like, it's not like, I'm like, yes, amaze. Yes, Vanessa, please do that. And if they demonstrate that in their personal life with friends, family, lovers, and everything in between and on social media and stuff, amaze. Like, thank you. Prove to the world that people can change, because I do think a lot of people don't think people can change. And I do. We're literally in this industry because we believe people can change. Yeah. So I think that's great. It's just I'm concerned. It's more about than just being calm. You know, I'm going to be calm and serious. It's like, how are you holding space for your inner world? How are you showing up? It's more tangible than just these two emotions. You know what I mean? So I'm just curious to see how she brings that into fruition. The end.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I hope that when she says I want to be calm and serious, she doesn't just mean like I'm just quieting a part of myself. Yeah, to show up as a different version, one that's a more palatable version.
Yeah, because that could be a trauma response. She's coping to be accepted instead of really being who she is from a grounded place. Yeah,
exactly. Now, I don't think that all of that boisterousness is exactly who she is. I think that that's also sort of an effort to self-soothe.
Yes.
And I'm curious who Vanessa is. I hope that she's curious who she is as well. But I agree. Like, I think that what she displayed shows some indication that if this is true for her, then she's on the right track to develop like a better relationship with herself, which is ultimately what I really want, because it will serve her better in her relationship, and it will serve her partners, her future partners, a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that why I was surprised is because she showed up so differently than how I expected that she was going to show
Totally.
up.
Yeah.
And I was excited that she wasn't just someone who was like stealing attention away. There was that weird little moment.
Yep. With Yoli, we'll get there. That one.
Yeah, there was that weird little moment about sorry, did you just hear my phone ring?
No.
Okay, cool. My phone started ringing and then it rang in my headphones. And I was like, does everyone hear what's happening? Okay,
No.
cool. Well, yeah, there was a weird little moment where Vanessa was bringing up a data point about between Xander and Yoli. But at first I was like, why are we bringing that up? And now I think about it differently.
Okay.
Let's go
Okay.
to let's go to Mal and Yoli.
Okay. We don't want to finish Vanessa and
Oh,
Xander yet?
Xander.
No,
We
you're good.
should.
Yeah.
We
Xander,
should.
Vanessa, they have had no communication at all. They heeded Brianna's advice. They were like, "We hear you, Bri, from the interwebs in retrograde a year later." And we have not communicated for the last, it sounded like almost a year, which is
Thank
amazing. Good for them.
thank God. That they
Yeah.
needed that. They both needed that.
They did. And Xander says she struggled with she Xander very much admits like I had this end goal of marriage and children and I was so hyper fixated on it. But then what is like how she articulates it. You know, it's like who is the partner I'm choosing to be with in this marriage and have kids with, right? And so I love that for them. And you know, Xander gets emotional expressing like, you know, romantically, Vanessa is not a thing for her. But she feels that she might be able to get her friend back with Vanessa, which I am like, okay, great. If you guys can figure out a way to just be friends without there being any romance or without, my biggest concern is assuming if let's just say asterisk, if Vanessa hasn't changed her ways, that's my only thing is like, is there going to be that emotional manipulation and it'll slide right back into what it was, you know? Um, and then meanwhile, Vanessa says that she can acknowledge they're not getting back together, but is very emotional over the fact that they're not getting back together. And those are all my notes that I have.
Yeah.
But do you have anything to
Well,
add? Unpack?
yeah, I like if I'm inclined to trust Vanessa, which parentheses I'm not, if I'm inclined to trust Vanessa, I understand where she's coming from. She's grieving, you know? She's grieving their friendship, she's grieving their relationship, she's grieving their connection. Like she misses the person that she was with, as the
Totally.
person that they are.
Yeah.
But because I'm not totally inclined to trust Vanessa, what it could represent is sort of this, I'm trying to keep the door open and I want you to know that I'm still an option, which I
Yeah.
think is really dangerous.
Agreed. Yeah. I'm really glad that Xander's in Hawaii. Yo, like
I
she's
didn't know
not
that
even
Xander
on the
lived in
mainland.
Hawaii.
Yeah, I basically followed everybody that I liked from this season. By the way, just a side note here, Ray's fucking hilarious. Like
Yeah.
going, oh, we haven't talked about, well, I guess we have talked about Ray and Lexi breaking up.
Hmm.
She posted a thing on her Instagram that's like, we broke up because, and so she starts like talking. She's like, look, all of you have been asking about why Lexi and I broke up. So I'm just going to like keep it super real and be transparent. And then she rickrolled everybody.
She didn't do anything. Yeah,
No, I
that's
just wanted
hysterical.
to never gonna give
The,
you up. Yeah, I
yeah,
was like
yeah,
dying laughing. She's my kind of girl.
yeah.
But anyway, I don't know why I felt the need to share it. I realized Xander is in Hawaii from my lurking of them. So yeah.
Okay.
So
Um,
yeah, Xander's in Hawaii and
did
Vanessa's
Vanessa
I
live
think
in,
in LA or
did Vanessa
Colorado.
live in, yeah, Vanessa lives in LA now. But were they living together when they were together?
Bro, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't know.
There's so much information that we don't have.
Yep. And
Okay.
that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm glad Xander's in Hawaii. Like she's not even on the mainland
Can I
for
make an
like, you know,
observation?
make it.
Xander seemed really tired to me. Really
They did.
tired in the
Yeah,
face. And
they
I
did.
was concerned because I couldn't really put my finger on it, but like Xander looked great.
Yeah.
But there was something about like the
Her
spirit in
aura
their
was not
eyes.
growing. Yeah.
Yeah, there was something about the spirit in their eyes that like I feel like I saw more wonder and curiosity in their eyes while on the show, that on the reunion I was like, what have you been going through?
Yeah, bro. I
You
agree. I think
okay?
Xander, yeah, I mean, it could be lack of sleep from anxiety about the reunion. It could be the
Totally.
travel. It could be all of those things
Oh
combined. It
yeah, it
could
is
be,
Hawaii.
yeah, I mean, like, there's so many different things, but I saw it too.
Okay, thanks for validating that.
And very much saw it. Yeah. We're not going to really know what that's about, you know? We really won't. And it's sad. But this just goes to show that energetics isn't bullshit. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not. And I'm talking about someone who used to think it was a bunch of hippie woo woo spiritual new age bullshit. I was like, yeah, that's baloney. Energy work. No, it's a thing. Because look at, like, even just looking at you can see it all. You see it all.
Well, and what's funny about it, the reunion, is you and I watch these shows. We don't watch them together. We don't watch them
No.
physically together. We don't watch them and talk about them right after. We don't talk about the shows
No.
until we get here
Here.
and we start talking about it together. And so that's a little inside backdoor to our engineering room. But like, you and I both noticed the same thing about Ray's presentation. You and I are both noticing the same thing about Xander's presentation. And just to clarify, this has nothing to do with like what they're wearing, what work they've
No.
done to their face, what these people
No.
look like.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with like
Soul
what the
glow.
fuck? Yeah, yeah. What the fuck is going on with you, bro?
Yeah. This is a great, you know, where I see this within myself, and then I think people will kind of understand what we're trying to say here. When I
Mm,
look back on the photos of myself when I was dating my most unhealthy ex, right?
yeah.
When I look at that back at those, even though he's not even in any of those pictures, but I was out with friends or something where, you know, I'm drinking, going out, whatever, you can see how unhappy I am despite me having a smile plastered on my face, you know? And so
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're saying here is like Xander, fucking sick ass Navy suit, super sick chucks, like looked hot as
Mm-hmm.
always,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the energy, it was the quality of what we like, the eyes are the windows to the soul type vibes. Like it just wasn't, they weren't fully there, they weren't fully energetically happy. It was like, it felt like a
Yeah.
half empty glass. It was kind of sad.
It was sad. It made me sad. When we're talking about this right now, just again for clarity, we're speaking coming from a place of concern and compassion. Like
Yeah.
we really want this person to be okay. So, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. I'm scared or worried, concerned.
yeah, worried and concerned. I want to talk about Mildred and Tiff last, so let's just get
Mal
to
and Yoli
Mal and Yoli, Sam and Aussie.
slash Xander. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
let's. This was wild. Um so Joe Swisher asks, like, how are you guys, Mal and Yoli? You still engaged? Are you married? And they kind of, there's like a beat of a pause, and Mal's like, we're happily broken up. Da-da-da.
Mm-hmm.
Yoli starts to share that 2 weeks after the experience, Mal goes back to her old ways, but Mal says that that's not honest. So there's a little bit of they said, she said type vibes up in here. Um, and they ended up spending time apart. And then Mal starts to kind of express like some of the things that we didn't know were happening while the show was filming, right? Like Yoli
Yeah.
messaging Mal while Yoli was with Xander saying like, you're it, I know what I'm gonna choose. And that's probably another reason why Mal was so blindsided that Yoli fell in love with Xander, right? What
Yeah.
else did she share that was shocking? Oh, Mal was surprised about when Yoli and Xander were having the moment that we just unpacked last week where Xander was like, let's get married, right? When they were supposed to be kind of like low-key parting ways or accepting the fact that they're back with their OG partners. Mal was under the impression that it was kind of like a breakup combo, not like a let me hold your hand and propose to you type combo.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there was a lot of shocking truths to be revealed here.
And I think all of these shocking truths add up to what Mal's primary concern is in their relationship, which is the dishonesty. Because, again, surprising to me and probably many people, Mal didn't take so much of an issue with Yoli's affection
Love for, yeah.
and love for Xander. Mal was like, you guys were cute. Mal is so
It was
grounded.
palpable. I know. She doesn't take it personally. She's just like, love
At
is love, humans are
all.
humans. She's a
Yeah.
badass, or they're a badass.
She's so badass. Mal was like, honestly, you guys deserved a shot, which I was like,
Yeah.
they probably could have held that one to themselves just out of respect for the fact that the two people were going to like hear. I don't know. If someone were to tell me about like a kind of an ex that I had, like, you guys really should have given it a shot, I would have been like, I would have short circuited. So
Free would have frazzled. She would have been
yeah,
like,
I would have frazzled. I would have been like, maybe we should have. What do you think?
as she
Anyway,
plays with her hair.
yeah. So so Mal's primary concern was like I what this show clarified for me is that like you're not as consistent, you're not as honest as I was giving you credit for, and I got played and I looked like a fool, and you're out here worried about me as a partner or and a parent for your future children. And I feel, and I agree with this, that going through all of this stuff on the show only confirmed what a good partner I am and what a good parent I could be, which it was so cool to see, like, hear them honor that for themselves, which didn't surprise me at all. But it also mirrored how I was feeling throughout the whole show. I was like, this is a great partner. That doesn't mean that
Yeah.
Yoli has to feel super in love with this person and like has to choose this person. I think, to what you had said earlier, it would be a disservice to Mal for Yoli to choose Mal just for the sake of being like, you're the best fit for my needs,
Yeah.
right? Mal deserves more, and it seems
Yeah.
like there's a universal like consensus that that is true.
Yeah. I love that Mal was like, you inadvertently like displayed to the world that I'm a great partner. And it's
Mm-hmm.
true. She did. And like Yoli, I want to make space like not I kind of feel for Yoli cuz like I understand that I can only imagine, especially someone who might not be as emotionally mature as Mal, and maybe not like I think Yoli has a lot of desires that a lot of women have. Like I want to get married, I want to have babies, but they put it almost like they idolize it. They put it on this fucking pedestal where it's like I'm gonna do that by any means necessary, and so for a while, like yes, she loved like Yoli loved Xander, but the argument was like, well, Xander has her finances in a row. But it's like, but what else? Because it's like we can always make money, we can always find money. That's not, but like the emotional maturity, much harder to come by, right? So it's like I felt for Yoli because I think she just has a lot of growth. I think she has healing that can happen too within herself to that'll help kind of bring her clarity on the kind of partnership she really wants. Because Yoli being self-deprecating, even she was like, you know, I look like an ad for Polly, even though I'm not trying to be right now, you know. And
Yeah,
I kind of felt that. I remember at one point I was like, what are they gonna do? Be a throuple? Because that was kind
yeah,
of what I was getting. Like I
yeah.
was like, wait, are you guys trying to like make it happen and be like in that way?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, now here's where it gets interesting to me because Vanessa is like sitting on the edge of her seat, like blurting out and saying that that Yoli and Xander did try, and Yoli claps back and is like, couldn't wait to bring that up, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it turns out that yeah, they kept in contact. They saw each other in Coachella. Supposedly nothing happened, is what they said. And then there was some discussion around maybe Yoli going to Hawaii to see Xander, but that didn't happen. And I guess Yoli forgot that that was even a part of the conversation. So
how much do you believe when, like, Yoli has done this a couple times where, like, Yoli will not remember a thing and will sort of like go into like, I don't remember, like, that didn't happen, like, that didn't happen, I don't remember it being like that. And then someone will, like, usually it's Xander who's like, yeah, there was blank exchanged, or yeah, you know, we were talking about flights. And then Yoli will be like, oh yeah, oh yeah. She's done that a couple times. She did that at the cocktail party.
yeah.
Here. I'm
It
just
could be
curious what you think.
okay, there's two lines of thinking. One,
Mm-hmm.
it could absolutely be a tactic to escape accountability. It's low-key gaslighting, 100%.
Yeah.
It could be.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's also a part of me that's like, yo, I feed my dog breakfast sometimes, and 5 minutes later will completely forget if I fed my dog breakfast sometimes.
Memory.
So
I know.
yeah, like, so it's kind of hard. Like, I don't know her personally enough to be able to like make my own call, and it didn't happen in an icky way enough on the show for me to be able to kind of track like where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say.
Yeah, what is it?
I will say I fucking trust Mal, and I will say that I fucking trust Xander. And so, you know, I trust that their experience are true, but because I haven't seen them lie. I haven't seen them be weird and like gaslighty and evasive in those ways. So I trust their experience more than what Yoli conveys, if that helps.
100%. I'm gonna add, because I agree.
Yes,
first
bitch.
of all, I totally agree with that. Like, I trust Mal. I trust Xander.
Yeah.
I agree with you when you said, like, this could be a tactic, this could be a memory thing. My early perception of this is just like, I'm giving Yoli the benefit of the doubt because of memory. And Yoli's not a perfect person. What I will say about Yoli is I think Yoli does not have appropriate boundaries in place.
Agreed.
For the people that they're in connection with. Yoli, we learn, and we would have never learned that. It's so interesting that they had their phones at this, like, in the show. So usually shows like this, you don't have a phone. There is no phone.
No.
So it's weird that they have phones, and like if it causes conflict, it'll be brought up. But if it doesn't, we won't even know how phones are being used, which is crazy because there's so much room for connection and relationship building, even if you're not face to face with someone. And we as people are so good at that now. So it's like, I don't know, it seems like too much out of control to be able to have as an element. But if we did not know these things, I would have never known this part of Yoli, which is like, I'm with this person, but I'm talking to this other person. And I'm with this person, but now I'm talking to this other person. Yeah. And it is kind of like, yo, girl,
Not okay.
what are you doing? Like, set some fucking ground rules for yourself, at least for yourself. You can't control what other people are going to do, but set some for yourself that, like, if I'm going to spend this time with this new person, let me not talk to my ex-partner, or let me, like, make sure that I'm talking to them about safe stuff. When I'm with my ex-partner, let me not talk to the new person I'm connecting with. And if I am going to talk to them, let me make sure that it's super appropriate. Let me make sure it's super safe. Like, there seems to be none of that. And that's my concern about Yoli.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And about the phone thing, I read an article where the producers are like, we have rules, but not really, because we try and only create rules that we can enforce, not rules we can't enforce. And so they're like, setting the expectation that you can't text your ex isn't something we can really enforce, so we just let it be. And so
then why have it?
Yeah. It's
I guess
weird.
because it causes shit.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, hello. They're just in it for the drama, really. They don't give a fuck about these people as humans. That's our job.
Yeah. That's right. We care about you.
Cool.
Okay.
I guess in a really fucked up way, we could be thankful for reality TV for causing all these problems. Because in a
what would we
backwards
talk
way they
about?
bring us business. Yeah, and they bring us business, which is so shitty. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are we doing to ourselves out here? It's like we're creating, it's the social dilemma. We are literally creating hell on earth for ourselves sometimes. It's
It's
wild.
the social dilemma. It's 100% that. And I see your existential crisis and I am with you, and we are also putting a pin in it.
We're moving on. Yeah, I love
We
you.
are moving
I
on.
love you so
Um,
much.
I love you too. I also like, I get it. Like I see you. I'm there multiple times a day, every single
Yeah.
day. So like I heard it and I was like, this is familiar. Okay. Listen, it's a
Tip
dark spiral
and
if we just let it go.
Mildred.
No,
And
no,
we're,
no, not there.
oh, yeah, okay. Wait, who are we
Yeah.
going to next?
Sam and Aussie.
Oh, yeah, so sorry. I forgot about them. They're
It's
amazing.
Sam and Aussie get covered last, but I don't
I
want to
know.
cover them last.
No. Okay, Sam and
Yeah.
Aussie, let's go.
They're still together. That's
Amazed.
great. The only thing that is I'm curious about, I'm not concerned about. I'm curious about how they'll deal with it, but I'm still confident that they'll deal with it is the what will happen once Aussie's parents and the rest of Aussie's family learn about their relationship.
Yeah. Bro, I relate to Aussie so much here where like you live a double life where you keep things hidden from your family because you know they're not going to accept you or them or it or whatever it is. And so I get the fear and I get wanting to keep it private. I saw some of the other people on the stage shake their head in disapproval, like that's stupid that you're keeping it a secret, but they don't understand the like Aussie comes from a straight up abusive childhood home, y'all. Like it's very clear with what we've seen. So, you know, you got to protect yourself. And so her not telling them is a form of self-protection, and that's something I would counsel my fucking clients to do. So, right on, girl. Or Aussie and Sam. And what I do like about what I heard as far as this anxious avoidant dance that we've seen these two, you know, twinkle toe around a few times is I like that Sam was like, look, I'm sitting with the discomfort of Aussie walking away and needing space, and Aussie is sitting with the discomfort of shortening that space and coming back to me as soon as they can, right? And I thought that was a really good way to articulate it, and it also made me go, sounds like they might be working with somebody. And so I hope that's exactly what's happening. But the fact that they can at least articulate that and they're recognizing like this is the pattern, this is how we're approaching the pattern is amazing. So that gives me
Yeah,
hope.
totally. Yeah, very
Yeah.
much. Very much
Yeah,
so.
good job, you guys. They're gonna
Good
have two weddings,
job.
one in Australia, one in the US. That's amazing. Really excited about that. And the end.
The end, literally the end for them.
Yeah, it was like a
Good for
2 second thing.
Yeah. Well, because we needed, I'm curious how long this reunion actually was, because I know that we got a very chopped up version
Edited
of it.
version. Yeah.
Okay, Tiff and Mildred, which was honestly so fucking weird and hard to watch. It was so
I
hard
felt
to
like
watch.
I was watching Jerry Springer. Mm-hmm. It had Jerry
Yeah, they're
Springer
like,
vibes.
well, they also like they had them at total opposite ends, so they have two
V-shaped
rows
couches.
of yeah, like they're split up into different like actual sectioned seats, but like yeah, it's like a V shape where we have Joanna Spicer. Is that her name? That's someone else.
Swisher. I mean,
Who the
Spice
fuck
Girl
is
it up,
Joanna
baby.
Spicer? That's a person that I have no idea who that is. Joanna Swisher in the middle, and then it's everyone else. It's each partner directly across from each other, and we have Tiff and Mildred all the way at the end. They are the furthest away from each other, as they should be. Honestly, Mildred should be even further from Tiff, way further. But it was crazy to watch them shout at that distance
Bro.
in that space.
I think that's why they did it.
I don't even know where to begin with them other
I
than
need to take a breath because this was hard. This was like I have icky feelings about this entire thing. So first of all, the show sets them up by going into doggy love and shows like a montage of all of their little pets. Yeah, only to pitch it over to Tiff and ask how Shiloh's doing because apparently Shiloh had emergency surgery over the holidays to the point to where Tiff, I guess, thought Shiloh might not make it. And holy fuck, from there chaos ensues, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
what happens is Mildred chimes in while Tiff is sharing. This is where immediately I knew it was going to get nasty right at this first comment that Mildred makes. So Tiff shares all this, and Mildred chimes in and goes, what were the dates that Shiloh had emergency surgery? I just want to make sure I have my facts straight. It was so, like, from right immediately, I was like, bitch, get out of here. Like, what are you plotting? What is going on? And so Tiff goes, what do you mean get your facts straight? And Mildred says, like, well, we aren't on speaking terms. You're not allowed in my life anymore. And you texted my family on Christmas Eve saying that Shiloh wasn't going to make it, and it was super intrusive. Whoa. I need to come up for air.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I like thematically what we're seeing is Mildred's trying to create a case against Tiff in a very public way to see that Tiff is
the problem.
Yes, exactly. To see that Tiff is pictured as the problem in their relationship because Mildred is not comfortable being identified as the problem, even though, like, we have already seen very real life examples of Mildred contributing to the problem, if not being the problem. And it was hard, and it was weird because I also, like, here's what we know is Tiff is identifying Mildred as a very manipulative person and an abusive person. And so it seemed like what's frustrating is that there's so much of their history that has gone over the last year since filming ended that Mildred's just bringing to the table in this very public setting when no one else can really confirm, validate, or like fact check anything. And it just seemed like, I'm going to use this opportunity with an audience. It's my last opportunity to throw out all of the things that no one knows about, that no one can confirm, and make my ex-partner look like the issue.
AKA a smear campaign.
Yeah. And it was rough because you see Tiff trying to challenge some of the information that's brought up and obviously get exhausted by that. You saw how Tiff was trying to, like, and even own up some of the things that they were party to. But it just, at a certain point, Tiff got to a place where I think that Tiff knew they were going to get to, which is, I am dealing with an unhealthy person. I'm arguing with an unhealthy person. I am not going to be able to save face or preserve my rightness or what I think is honest and true in my experience of this relationship in this space with this person who is so unhealthy. This person would never allow for it. So that my only option is to remove myself.
And that is quite literally, I coach people to do this all the time. It's like you can't, like, no matter what you have to say, someone who is committed to misunderstanding you and painting you as the problem, there's no getting through to them. There's no having them see the light. There's no getting them to stop. There really isn't. Yeah. So the only thing you can do is to disengage, remove yourself from the situation, and then move forward by leading by example, demonstrating to the world that you're not actually that person, right? Like, you're not going to sit there and fight fire with fire. You're just going to go on and live your life, and people in time will see that that's not who you are. And so, go ahead.
And in the case of Tiff and Mildred, and what was true for many couples, unfortunately, it would actually be dangerous for Tiff to continue.
Very.
Because what we also learn is that Mildred, like threw a bunch of stuff at her, physically hit her. Like, this person is not safe. It doesn't even matter what transpired in the conflict or the confrontation to like see that Mildred got to this level. That type of level of
violence,
aggression and violence should have never been relevant. And so this is, like, true to what Alex is saying. You cannot fight fire with fire, nor should you.
No.
It is not safe for some of us.
No. And so because of that, Mildred admits to us that she got arrested. And then Mildred continues on to try and call Tiff emotionally immature, saying Tiff took financial advantage of her. Tiff, at first Tiff is calm and tries to just like question and be like, what do you mean? Like, tell me more. What are you alluding to? Like, and then eventually when Tiff kind of realizes like, oh, this is the game you're going to play, Tiff escalates and is like, I am not going to sit here and continue to be gaslit by you. Like, this isn't true. And she storms off crying hysterically. Totally get why. And Sam goes after her. And here's what I loved. Everyone there was like, that wasn't okay.
Yeah.
Like, Mildred just went off, like, berating, just, like, dishing out all these things, not letting Tiff articulate, not letting Tiff speak their case, not letting anything else be. It was just, you're the problem, Tiff. You did this to me. You did that to me. Again, to Bree's point, no one can confirm or deny. And so when Tiff leaves after the gaslighting comment, Aussie speaks up in defense of Tiff, saying, hearing that word reminds me of my experience with Mildred. So now we are getting confirmation that Mildred is the common denominator in her relationship experiences that is causing these types of really unhealthy dynamics, yet Mildred is committed to not taking responsibility for how she's contributing to that. Sam, being fucking Sam in the most beautiful way, runs out to go comfort Tiff and gives her a hug and is just like, you don't need to defend yourself to her. You don't need to defend yourself to us. Like, take care of you.
You're done.
You're done. You're done. And so Tiff leaves and Sam goes back in and lets everybody knows that Tiff will no longer be joining us for the rest of the reunion, which is the best thing that Tiff could have done, honestly, at that point.
I thought that was actually a good example, and I'm sure that there's lots of people that have lots of feelings and lots of thoughts and opinions about it. But as two practitioners in this space, that is the best thing that Tiff could have done, is to get the fuck out of there and no longer and fully disengage. If the worst case scenario is that Mildred gets that free space to show up and say and speak on what they believe is their side of the truth and their experience with the relationship, to be like, blah blah blah, like, I feel so much better, I'm just happy now. First of all, I don't believe that. Talk about auras. That aura was not confirming happy.
It was black.
Yeah. That aura was confirming, I am prepared to tell anyone here anything that is going to make it seem like I am good.
My shit don't stink. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think what was interesting was like Yoli was also kind of like, hey Mildred, like, are you good? Like, there did seem to be some sort of reaching out for sympathy and empathy, which I understand in the case of like everyone's a person here. But this was such a weird moment, such a hard moment. I'm like, do we need to offer this person comfort right now? Right now?
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting for sure.
Yeah. But... Okay.
I'm okay. I just need a breath. Because that was intense. That was hard to watch.
Yeah.
So, what are we ditching? That? We are ditching
definitely that.
Fucking that. Yo,
definitely
if
that.
anyone ever talks to you in that way, my folks, who have been through narcissistic relationships, and maybe you found our podcast from that, this was actually a beautiful example, because so many people get, like, when I talk about how to handle a smear campaign, so many people think by disengaging, you're just taking it, you're just accepting it. But it's not that. You're not just lying down from a place of complacency to say, like, sure, go ahead and say whatever you want about me, and I don't care. It's less about that, and it's way more your own self-protection. Because like we just described, if you fight back, it will escalate. It's not going to de-escalate the situation. So the best thing is to unplug, remove yourself from the environment, and then from there, seek safety and please get out of relationships like that. Like, that's what we're motherfucking ditching.
That is what we are motherfucking ditching. Honestly, like, everything else is workable. All of these other couples, wherever they went to, workable. You know what's funny is you were like, I think everyone should break up. Everyone broke up except Aussie and Sam.
The one couple that I was like, please don't.
Yeah.
Because I think they're so beautiful together. I think they have so much potential. They just need the tools. They just need the tools.
I
Alrighty.
honestly, because of the sensitive nature of the show, like I'm going to double down on what you're ditching. Say we're ditching anything that reminds us of Mildred and any version of Mildred until Mildred heals and recovers and
on their
doesn't,
own.
yeah, and doesn't engage in relationship participation from a place of trauma and manipulation. Like, stay away.
Yeah, not the vibes.
Not the vibes.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us here today on Ditch the Script Pod. If you liked our episode, please leave us a rating and review. Hit those stars. Screenshot it. Share it to the gram and tag us in it, and we'll reshare it. We love to see it. And make sure you are following us on the gram and TikTok at Ditch the Script Pod. And if you have any questions you want us to answer, head to ditchthescriptpod.com. And we still have free 30-minute sessions if you want to hang out with us privately so we can help you with whatever's going on in your life. You can head to ditchthescriptpod.com/podcast and apply there. That's it.
I just had to dance it out.
I loved it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Make sure you head to our YouTube channel and subscribe if you aren't yet. That's also something else we would love to see you guys over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Peace and love.
Kisses.